Hey guys, this is Heinz here with another video. This time I figured I'd do something special because I used to play a lot of Genshin, and there is a lot of hype surrounding the new update that TOF, Tower of Fantasy, has announced and released on China with the new underwater areas and all the swimming and lots of gorgeous exploration to be done. Uh, the thing is, a lot of players that have played Genshin just like I have grown kind of tired of actually doing pretty much the same thing, farming for artifacts indefinitely until they actually drop that godly artifact that they want on their own character, which in turn leads to them being able to grind faster. So yeah, the sense of fulfillment isn't that high with Genshin. Thing is, in Tower of Fantasy, after you get to a certain point with maximizing your gear and everything, you do have PvP in the game. You do have high multiplayer instances. You do have a lot of world bosses where a lot of players converge into killing those bosses. Now, the earlier ones have gotten quite easy to defeat now with a party of at most 6 people if they are well geared. However, uh, the later ones are pretty hard to beat, and you do need a lot of people to do it. And that is pretty much the appeal, the sense of fulfillment. They are, however, limited, just like Resin is in Genshin, to a number of bosses that you can actually drop their specific materials from, to I think 2 of the newer ones and 3 of the older ones. Not entirely sure, but you can drop weapons, SSR weapons from bosses. You can drop SSR matrices from bosses, which in comparison with Genshin, where you just farm the bosses on the maps to get the materials to upgrade your characters that you already have by summoning, is a lot better. I mean, I'll take a 0.005% chance to get an SSR weapon, which comes with a character, rather than 0.00. That's what Genshin gives you. Anyway, to start things off, I do have a lot of friends that play Genshin, and when I discuss the issue of Genshin versus Tower of Fantasy, because I do mention that I play Tower of Fantasy after dropping Genshin. I did play Genshin for a very long time. I will be showing some stuff on my account, on my Genshin account, so you will see for yourself that I have been playing for a decent time. I won't say I'm a uh, how should I say, I don't intensely play Genshin. I used to play it on a daily basis, but now I just log in, get some stuff, and then just log out after doing maybe the daily missions. I don't know if I even do those. But the thing is, when people look at Tower of Fantasy after coming from Genshin, they expect to find the same thing, which is like a Genshin MMO. The only thing that these two games have in, say, common when you look at them is the way they look. They look and feel as if they are kind of the same game, but the mechanics that they work around and the way stats are used and characters are generated and equipped is different. For example, I have a window here opened with my what the? So I have a window here with the okay. I have a window here opened with the Tower of Fantasy account that I have now. This is the main difference that I noticed when starting the game. When you start the game with Genshin, you get the cool intro video. Then you get to select if you want to play as a girl or as a boy, and that is your main character. Your main character is the traveler. You play his story in the game, in Genshin. You experience it by his eyes. Why I say this? Because even though you can unequip the traveler, you will still see him in all the cutscenes, or her if you chose the girl. Like, every cutscene in the story and in some of the side quests will have the traveler showing up. Now, in Tower of Fantasy, the thing is that you can actually customize your character. The difference is that when you get a new character in Genshin, you actually get a new character. And this is what I want to point out right now. And I'm going to showcase this right now. This is the Traveler, yeah, in Genshin. This is the main character that I have. I went for the girl. I didn't knew that you will not be able to swap later. And I did saw she has way cooler animations. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, as you can see, my Traveler is its own character. It's got took some damage earlier. I don't know what I was trying to defeat. And my HP is down to 360 out of 10,866. So that is how much HP the Traveler has. Now the difference is, in Tower of Fantasy, you are always playing your main character. In comparison with Genshin, where you are playing as the Traveler, you can unequip the Traveler, play as different characters that you pull. They each have their individual stats. So if I want to play on Beidou, because I do want to play on Beidou, I can swap into Beidou. And as you can see, my HP has different digits. Why? Because this is Beidou's HP. And when you go to characters, these are the stats that only Beidou has. You swap to this character, these are the stats that only this character has. And as you can see, I do have quite a few 5 stars, and like I mentioned, I have been playing for a while. It's just that I haven't been into the game that much. While in Tower of Fantasy, if you swap into Tower of Fantasy, there's only one character that you play as, and that character is your own character, which you can customize when you start the game. Based on whether you chose a girl or a boy, you can start with them and customize them. And if you go to the starting area where you can actually customize your character, you will see something like this, which is something that Genshin doesn't have. Copy an image import now. No. Yeah, so this is the initial outfit that you get, but you do get several that you can pick. You can pick this one. You can pick this one. Actually, no, this one's 75 pack. So it's this one. This one was given as a pre-order reward, so pretty much everyone that joined the game after pre-ordering should have it. This one is one of the starting ones. It doesn't come with these colors. This is my pick on it. It looks different, but it's given to you for free. And then you get several others that you get for simply exploring the map. Yeah, this one's also permanent, given to everybody. Permanent, given to everybody. Yeah, and you can just simply equip them. And once you have equipped one of these outfits, you can actually customize their colors as well. You can go to custom. You can change the first color into glossy, black, dark. You can change it into this and that. And the first customization that you do is for free. Yeah, different outfits will have different levels of customization that you can apply to them. Yeah, so for this one, let's go to custom again. Just give me a moment. I do have both Genshin and Tower of Fantasy running in the background on a potato PC. Okay, let's go back to custom. Thank you. Come on, man. But we are in custom. Otherwise, this wouldn't have been an option. Okay, so yeah, you can change the colors. And when you select this, it will shine whatever you can change on your character. So this one will allow you to change these shiny things on your hand. This one will allow you to change the color on your belt. This one will probably just change the jacket itself. So yeah, you can just customize your character and you can play as this character. When you get a weapon, you just get a weapon. You can have a max of 3 weapons equipped and you always have the same stats, which is where the thing with the Genshin having different characters with different stats comes into play. no matter what weapon you use, your stats that are showing up here, come on, man, okay, are shared on all of the weapons you are using. They will all be benefiting from the same buffs. Now, there are some specific weapon type buffs that you can have based on traits and matrices that you equip, but that's a different story. I'm just talking about the introduction right now, the main base thing. So you are always having the same stats. So when you equip a cheap weapon that they give you at the start, these are the weapons that you get from the start, and this is a starting outfit. I don't know if you can get this haircut or this particular eyepiece. I just equipped them in time. But yeah, this is how you start up. You start up with the Electro Sword, which is an R, and for an R, I gotta say, it's got a pretty cool animation. Now, in terms of combat, you will see that Tower of Fantasy does have combos based on how you actually click. You will do different attacks. You can do dodge attacks on some of the weapons. Yeah, you can click and hold, and then he's gonna do something else, and it's a combo based battle. In Genshin, you swap, you use your ult, your skill, you do some animation canceling and basic attack, and that's pretty much what you do. Then you swap to another character. That's kind of how it works. But in Tower of Fantasy, you can play any weapon that you want and just combo it to death. It's a different mechanic. And just to showcase something, uh, I do have these are level 10 because I had to level them because of the story asking you to do it in the beginning, but it's fine, it's fine. So, based on what I just said, um, in terms of starting, once you're done with the story, you will get some access to different weapons and stuff. And as you progress with the story, you will get your first weapon, which is your first SR weapon actually, which is going to be this one. I actually leveled this one up and I got a bunch of dupes from summoning on the regular banner, which you will in time. And it's an SR. This is a pretty decent weapon, and for an SR it deals good damage, and as you can see it's got some decent stats as well. Now, because I have equipped this, yeah, my main complete power went up. Yeah, you can see I'm at 53 now. I was way lower. Let's equip the other one again, just for the sake of this particular thing. Yeah, every weapon you equip will impact your score. 48. Yeah, this is the total score, all the stats that I have on all the weapons equipped. Yeah, and if I equip another weapon, yeah, like I did previously, I'm just gonna swap this one for the lightning SR that you get for free. Yeah, you see my gear score went up, and I got 53 because I added more volt. So just to showcase a little bit of the damage in regards to this, uh, there is one thing that I would like to show as well, which is, I don't know why I just unequipped that. I was about to hit something to show you this, but whatever. I just clicked next to it. Okay. Bro. Okay, we're done. Okay, so now we're back at the lower score. Yeah. And I'm going to hit someone. Uh, yeah, with the R weapon. Whatever. Yeah, 1.9, 1.2, 2K. Okay, those are the digits that I'm doing now because I do have a decent legendary gear equipped, but that's just something to you to take into consideration. Now I do want to get rid of this guy, but I don't want to kill him, so I'm just gonna circle around him, I guess, until he gives up, because he will eventually give up. Please give up. Okay, he's gone. Cool. Uh, Great. So that was a max of 2k damage. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to equip the SR weapon, which will grant me more volt attack because it is a volt weapon. And this is also a volt weapon, which uses volt attack to do damage. By definition, this means that when I equip the other weapon, I should be doing higher damage on the R weapon as well. Let's see if we do. Again with the latency. Okay, so we did 3k, yeah? Just swapping a weapon, we did 3k on a crit. Yeah, 2.4, 4.2. You see how the damage increases even on the weak weapons? This will never happen in Genshin because, like I mentioned, in Tower of Fantasy, you are always playing your main character, you are simply equipping different. And that's some skill we have, okay. That's a dive attack where you jump and dive. But now, this guy has a shield, and it can be rather annoying to deal with these, so I'm just gonna swap into another weapon, which will allow me to use an discharge or like an ultimate from Genshin. It's just that the difference is when you swap into the weapon, you automatically cast it when it's charged. Bro, just... Yeah, and each weapon, even the R's, have a discharge skill. There's the bow that I've been using, it's a fire bow, whatever. Yeah, we got a skill as well, where we just hop back and do some damage as well. And he got his shield back. Like I mentioned, I don't really want to deal with this guy right now, but I have to because dodging him is gonna be a pain in to deal with. Anyway, now we got the other one, so we're gonna do this one. Yeah, I have no idea what that did because I couldn't see it, but it's fine. Let's go get this guy. Aerial attack combo. We do the slashing thingy. Now we do this, and he should be dead, I think. There we go, 6k. Cool. This is very low level weapons, and yeah, that was a level, pretty much max level opponent on the first map because the map levels up when you level up as well. So, yeah. In terms of comparisons, again, the way the stats are distributed is different. The characters are different. Now, what do you gacha for? In Genshin, you gacha for weapons and you gacha for characters. By you gacha, I mean you summon. So, in Genshin, if you want to summon, you will summon a character, and this character can equip weapon, and use artifacts. Now, artifacts are farmable, you don't summon for them, but they're a real pain in the ass to get. So, yeah, if you play Genshin, you already know what those are. Then you get dupes, they turn into constellations, and you have skills that you can upgrade on each individual character. That's pretty much how it works on Genshin. Now, you need to gacha for characters, and you need to gacha for weapons. There are some free farmable weapons, but the better ones, they're all in the gacha. I haven't seen them release a 5-star free-to-play weapon yet. Maybe they have. I haven't played in a while. If they did, props to them. I don't really care anymore. Now, in terms of Tower of Fantasy. Okay, wow, that was not cool. I actually forgot to swap the window. Okay, so based on what I said, Yep, you have the attributes which are only for this hero. You have the weapons, which are the ones that you gotcha, the artifacts, constellations that gives you dupes, the talents that are upgradable, and some voice stuff that you can do. Now, like I said, in Genshin you have to summon weapons and you have to summon characters. While in Tower of Fantasy, let me swap this back. Yeah, we didn't forget this time. Yay. Okay, now in Tower of Fantasy, the things are a little bit different. When you summon, you only summon for a weapon. The thing is, the weapons are embedded with some kind of memory in them. So when you summon an SR or higher weapon, they come with the memory of the one that used them most, was most proficient, or the one that the weapon was designed for embedded into them. And you can actually change the way your character looks and have that particular character's look for your own. So when you get this, you also see this picture here. Now this is a simulacrum, they call it. It's called Echo. Yeah, the weapon is called Thunderous Halberd, which is what you get as a weapon. But at the same time, if you go into Simulacra, you will see Echo here. This is Echo. And you have a few options. Once you get the weapon, you can activate uh, the actual simulacrum. It will say activate. Yeah, you also have a trait. I'll mention this. I'll get into this a little bit later. But now I'm looking like this. Yeah, this is Echo. This is her weapon. Pretty much the same thing as Genshin, right? Not really, because when you swap the weapons, the actual simulacrum model will be using the other weapons. Yeah, this is Echo with a bow. Really? There you go. Now this is Echo with a sword. And as you can see, this one free SR simulacrum, yeah, that you get for simply playing the story and doing your first summon, it's a guaranteed SR that you get, has animations on her model for each other weapon in the game. And I do mean each other weapon in the game, including the premium ones. Yeah, this is one of the coolest weapons in the game, where you can just do this. Yeah, how cool is that? And it works with any other simulacrum. Now I'm just showing this because it's the first simulacrum that you get in the game. It's free, it's given to everybody. You will get all the SRs, and yeah, that's a big effort from the devs. Now imagining going back to Genshin. Come on, okay. Going back to Genshin, uh, imagine having Beidou, yeah, use a different type of weapon. Yeah, like imagine having Beidou skin and using, I don't know, the skills of some other character that's fire or anything, having an elemental weapon. Because this is what weapons do in the game, they change your element. They come with skills on that particular element, but your main character, the one that you always use and that you can make look at as like pretty much any other character that you have, he just changes element, and the comps in this game are surrounding how you can better build one element at a time. Because like I said, the stats that you build up on your character are always active on your character and on the weapon that you're currently holding in hand, but they do come from all the weapons that you have equipped. And it until we get a rainbow character, which should be coming soon, you are mostly forced to play one element because every weapon that you add for Volt will increase your Volt attack, which in turn grants you more Volt attack on every other Volt weapon, so it's more beneficial for you to have all Volt weapons. For example, if you're using Volt. Now with Genshin, when a character drops, you're stuck. It's an emo? Well, it's an emo. It's Geo? It's Geo. The only one that can swap elements is the Traveler, and let's be honest, she's just not the best. Or he, if you chose he. Say for example Ling. How cool would it have been for Ling to be able to use lightning skills? Because I do have a lightning weapon on her. But that's not the case. How cool would it have been to have Child use another weapon, not a bow? Like he can use those two dagger thingies that he makes from water, but it's not the same thing. What if I want to use a claymore on him? Well, in Tower of Fantasy, you can. Yeah, just like I showcased with Echo using this particular weapon. Yeah, Echo is a spear user, which makes her a melee user, right? Well, I can swap into my main comp. Yeah, I can have her wield two swords. And as you can see, she has all the animations to wield this awesome new sword. Yeah, okay. I can swap into my sniper as soon as the game will allow me to. Come on. Okay, I am playing from Europe. The server is in North America, so there is a delay. Bro, could you please? Thank you. Okay, so now I am sniping with the same skin. Yeah. So in Genshin, if you want to play a sniper, you need to equip a bow user, like a bow user character. If you want to use a range weapon, you need to invest additional resources into that particular weapon. However, in Tower of Fantasy, if you get a weapon that you want to use, you can just go on and use it. As long as you have two other weapons that have the same element to buff up your damage on that new weapon that you have, you should still be able to clear a lot of the story. I mean, I just killed some level 85 mobs on this map using an R weapon, which was this one. Yeah, and to make things even better, I can unequip this bow, use Nemesis, and now because I have her special effect, which is called Volt Resonance, having two or more Volt weapons equipped at the same time, you get a special buff that increases your damage even further. So I can now go back to my R weapon, which is this one, right? No, it's this one. No, it's this. Okay, it's this one. Okay, and now I can just use this one and do even more damage because Nemesis further buffs my attack. And the buff she gives includes the attack she has here, HP and crit, which adds to all my stats, but at the same time she increases by further 15%. So how much I did last time? 3k? Let's see how much we do now. Yeah, 5.7. Pretty big difference. And you can further increase your damage by adding matrices. I am currently not using any matrices on this weapon. Now look at this. This is an R weapon. You get this from the beginning of the game. It's free. You don't need to invest into it, but if you're crazy and you have resources to spend, you could. This is the skill it has. Rather fancy for an R weapon, isn't it? Okay, this guy can just go somewhere else. I don't want to deal with you, man, anymore. Just leave me alone. I just wanted the small minions that you have with you. Just go away, please. Walk away. Dude, just walk away. Dude, just walk away. God, I wish I had an area with small minions to stomp every time I want to showcase something. Anyway, so that's how damage increases in Tower of Fantasy. Now, in comparison, let's see how you do damage increments with Genshin. Yeah, I'm going to swap back into Genshin now. There you go. So, in order to increase your damage in Genshin, uh, you need to level up all your characters. That's the thing. That's the main thing you need to do. You got one character that is high level and all the other ones are not. Well, you can still carry with that characters, but when you swap into the other ones, it's not going to be pretty. Oh, and by the way, Genshin doesn't have double jump, which I've grown accustomed to after playing Tower of Fantasy. So that's a big difference. Like, straight out of the box, when you get a new weapon in Tower of Fantasy, you can just use it. It's not going to be as efficient as if maxed out, but it's still going to be doing something. Uh, in regards to Genshin, well, you got a character, it's level 1, you got others that are very strong, you equip that new character, guess what? It's still level 1. Yeah, and it's still not going to do any damage. It's just not. Now, say you got new weapon in Genshin. Well, you got a new weapon. Well, what does that mean? It means that one of your characters is going to have slightly stronger skills. And depending on what type of weapon you get, you may or you may not be able to use that weapon. In comparison, in Tower of Fantasy, from a gameplay perspective, I summon I summon a new weapon, I can just equip it. No matter what, my character can use any type of weapon. Yeah, this right here is my character. I can make him look at any weapon that I want. I can just remove this and give back the look of my own character if that's what I want to do. And to me, that's way more appealing because straight out of the box, you get a weapon, you can use it, and the weapon itself comes with unique skills. Yeah, if you go to any weapon, you will see that it's got a thing here called skills. On Genshin, you have this on your characters. Yeah, and you see there's a whole bunch of skills and stuff. Yeah, that come with the actual weapon. And each individual weapon has a different set of skills that has a different skill, passive, and a lot of dodge attacks and stuff. Like, this is an R weapon, so it doesn't really have a dodge attack. Yeah, you just dodge, that's it. But when you swap into Nemesis, yeah, this is a very good weapon that actually heals you when you dodge. But next to that, when you dodge an attack, it shoots two balls that when blow up, they slow down time. And this is unique to this particular weapon. In Genshin, if you want to have something like that, you need to get a character that has something like that. But in this, you just get the weapon and you have the skills with it, which in turn makes it more accessible because once you get the weapon, you already have the weapon. You no longer need an additional weapon that you need to equip on your characters just like Genshin, which makes it way more accessible to everybody. Now, like I said initially, each weapon comes with a different skill. Yeah, that's the skill for this. Nemesis has this skill. which just follows the opponents, shoots a bunch of missiles that are, by the way, homecoming. They just follow the opponents wherever they go. And the Echo has, come on, Echo. Come on, Echo. Is it here? No, it should be here. Come on, Echo. God, I hate the latency when it does it. Okay, so this is Echo, yeah, and this is her skill. She just jumps up. Now there's a combo where you are up and you go back down, and that does a ton of damage too. And like Genshin, each weapon comes with a different set of attacks. Yeah, I'm just gonna click. Yeah, this is the attack sequence for Echo. You can do it on any character. I'm not gonna swap the character anymore. It's just not worth it for me. Yeah, this is the attack sequence for the R sword. Pretty fancy for an R sword. Okay. And for Nemesis, who is a ranged character, like, come on, bro, can you? Thank you. This is the attack sequence for Nemesis. Kind of the same thing, but it's a little bit different. So as you can see, there are a lot of movements that you can do with each weapon. They do have their own combos that you need to learn, such as dodge attacks, yeah, directional dodge attacks, which as you can see does something else. Uh, Same for Echo, yeah, we got the dodge attack, who slams. Then we got the directional dodge attack, who just kicks them in the face and stuns them, by the way, which is really, really good in PvP. Nobody actually cares because it's an SR weapon, but if you have enough stats on your other weapons, you can still use it because it stuns them. Whatever, just let me do it. Come on. Yeah, see, she kicks the air, stuns the opponent, as long as they don't have a shield, of course, and you can just work them out. But there's also another thing that I find really, really appealing in this game, and that is the dodges. Tower of Fantasy comes with three small dots here that are your dodge charges. You get 3 dodges, 2, 3, and they recharge over time. They can be used in air, and they can be used on the ground. They can't be used in water, but that's a different story. Now, when you want to use your actual stamina is only used for swimming. Yeah, if I jump into the water, you will see a stamina bar. In the beginning, it's not gonna say ×3, it's gonna be way shorter, but that's fine. I just did a lot of exploring and gives you some mushrooms that increase your stamina, but that's topic for another video. But you can also use your stamina for climbing. And this is very, very useful because in Genshin, everything you do needs stamina. You want to sprint, you use stamina. You want to climb, you use stamina. You want to dodge, you again use stamina. Now, in turn, this does mean that late game, when you have a lot of stamina, you still have 3 dodges instead of a lot. But there are mechanics to each weapon, I mean to actually some of the weapons, that allow you to reset your stamina charges. When you do 2, you get 1 more, or it just gives you 1 more, I guess, some of them. But when comparing this with Genshin once again, yeah, let's go back to Genshin. Yeah, you want to swim? Well, you use stamina. See? You want to dodge? Again, you use stamina. you want to climb, well, guess what? You use stamina again. Come on, bro, just jump off. Thank you. Okay. Now there's another important thing that I want to point out, and that is gliding. When you are doing the story in Genshin at the very beginning, Amber comes to you. She's a fire bow user that everybody trashes on because she's not good, but she's actually really crazy in a meld comp. But that's again topics for different store, different videos. Uh, when Amber comes out, she gives you a quest. You do the quest and you get the glider. And the glider is actually really good because it allows you to traverse long distances as long as you have the stamina to do it. Well, Tower of Fantasy has something similar. And I say similar because it's not exactly the same thing. In Tower of Fantasy, the devs introduced a thing or equipment, special sort of equipment called relics. Now, relics come in different rarities. There's SSRs, there's Rs. Uh, the ones that you can farm for free, most of them are SRs. There are some SSRs that are also can given to you for free, but you got to do a lot of exploring, and I don't know if everybody wants to do that, considering some of them are not even that good. But the thing is, you have an SR relics that is just given to you for free in the beginning. It's called a jetpack. And it's pretty much the same thing like Genshin and the glider in Genshin. It allows you to glide through the air, but it's kind of like a jetpack. And because it's a jetpack, when you want to climb a mountain, you can launch yourself up. So you can get up easier. There you go. Now, same rock that I did jumped on here. If I wanted to get to in Genshin, I just have to climb it because that is not an option. Now, they did introduce a new mechanic in the latest Genshin map that allows you to shoot a dendro wire to some energy spots that allow you to do the Spider-Man thing, like web yourself to them and get to them, but that thing was already in Tower of Fantasy. And it's another relic, and this relic allows you to simply click to any wall and just pull yourself to it. Now, as you can see, it doesn't work on extremely high distances. Yeah, you just click the relic and a target shows up. When you have something inside that you can glide to, a small sign shows up. You can see that the crosshair changes, and that's when you know that if you click on the attack button, uh, a special wire will be fired, and you'll get dragged to it. I'm just not going to deal with that right now. Well, because of latency, sometimes it doesn't work, but trust me when I say it, most of the times it works. I do have both games running right now, and my computer is not the strongest, so let's just give it a benefit of the doubt. Try this again. Hopefully it works this time. Yeah, there you go. See? So you just get pulled up there, and you actually grab onto the ledge, but this time I fell because of latency. But it's fine, it's fine. You get the point. Now there's different types of relics, and there's offensive relics. Let me go through them. Yeah. Okay, so there's offensive relics such as this one, which gives you some huge arms, big arms on your back, and changes a bit of your skills, so you can DPS a boss real fast. There's this shield that blocks projectiles, and if maxed out, increases some of your damage. This one makes a clone of you. This one protects you from dying. Your HP cannot drop below 20% while you're inside some circle. This one makes a storm, kind of like a Venti ult. You just equip this and you got Venti's ult on you. Easy. This turns into a small mech, more like a joke mech, but it still works. It's okay. And there's a whole bunch of them, and you can just equip like up to 6 of them. You can have up to 6 of them equipped at the same time, but you can only use 2 at the same time while you're in combat. And I do feel like I need to emphasize this. You can buff yourself using 4 more before entering combat. Swap to the set that you want to be using in combat, then attack someone. Because there's once you enter combat, 2 swords will show up here showing that you are in combat mode, or that you just cannot swap weapons, matrices, relics, or anything else while you are in that mode, because it would be too overpowered. And that's just one mechanic of the one part of the gearing mechanic that comes with the customization of your own skills in this game. Now, if you want to, you can have a shield. There's a relic that gives you a shield, but then once the shield breaks, it increases your damage. And there's a whole bunch of combinations that you can do only with the skills that your weapons offer, and the relics that they offer to you as well here. Now, for comparison purposes, when you go to Genshin, over here, okay, cool. Okay, so when you go to Genshin for comparison mode, you only get your character, your interchangeable characters that each have their own skills, ultimate, and attack sequence, and this thing here that you can swap into different stuff. Let me see. It's here. Gadgets. Yeah, you can use a different gadget. Now these gadgets, let me be honest, they're not really helpful. They are kind of like what the relics in Tower of Fantasy are, because there are some that give you some bonuses, but you can only have one equipped at the time, and 90% of the times you are gonna want to have this because it allows you to actually use a heal, eat something and heal up, because Genshin doesn't really allow you to heal that easy. Now, another thing that I would like to point out as a comparison is the food. In Genshin, you eat food to get buffs. In Tower of Fantasy, you also eat food to get buffs. However, there's one more thing that I would very much like to see in Genshin that is present in Tower of Fantasy, and that's satiety. What is that? Well, to put it in plain, simple terms, your character gets hungry. Yeah, okay, let me swap back into Tower of Fantasy. Yeah. So your character gets hungry. You will see here, yeah, satiety, 48 out of 100. And you have different foods that you eat. Some of them give you buffs, some of them have regeneration, but when you click on them, they each provide a different amount of satiety. Meaning, you can charge this bar, and as you can probably see here, yeah, after Wander's exit battle for 5 seconds, satiety starts to drop to restore HP. For every 10% HP restored, 1 point will be reduced and 1 satiety point will be deducted every 5 minutes. So what this means is you eat, you charge up your satiety, and when you're done with fighting, you just sit on the map and your HP regenerates. easy. Why couldn't Genshin add this? It's such an easy way to deal with it. It doesn't work in combat. You can eat food to heal in combat specifically, but it does have an animation. And if you're doing a boss and your teammates don't hold aggro, you might lose more HP than regenerate. Still, that's worth mentioning. Now, in another thing that I would like to compare is to add actually to the gearing mechanics is matrices. Now, in Genshin, you have the artifacts which give you, I think, 4 stats. Let me check because we do have Genshin open up. Okay, Genshin. Okay. Okay, and we got artifacts here. Yeah, we've got 5 artifacts on a character. You get a 2-piece set and a 4-piece set, and they each give you some bonuses to the character that they are equipped on. Some of them specifically do say that they work in the background, but those are rather few. And yeah, most of them don't really affect anything other than the character they are equipped on. Now, in Tower of Fantasy, this is replaced by gear. Yeah, so these you upgrade, you get them to plus 20. Yeah, plus 20 to max them out as they give you different stats. Yeah, they have a main stat and 4 different stats that you roll into, and they star up. So the equivalent of this is, in Tower of Fantasy, the gear. And the gear is this. This is the gear. Yeah, the gear is where you start them up. They have different stats. You roll into them and you get those stats. Now, the thing is, in Genshin, what you want most to get is crit rate, crit damage, and depending on the character, either energy recharge, either attack or defense, or whatever the character wants. In Tower of Fantasy, what you need to get is crit, as much of it as possible. There is no crit rate, crit damage buff yet. There's just crit, which I think it only affects the chance of you inflicting critical hits, but certain weapons do get buffs to critical damage, and there are some matrices as well that I'll discuss later. So this is just one part, yeah. You farm gear, you get higher attack, you get higher crit, HP and resistance come second if you're a DPS. They do come first if you are a tank, but that's a different thing. Now, you will also see that these items in Tower of Fantasy only have stats. They don't have any passives. And that is because Tower of Fantasy did something really clever with the gearing system. Like, they took the thing with the artifacts and rolling different stats, which I'm not very pleased with, but they separated the passive. What does this mean? It means that you always have your same gear equipped. Maybe different sets for different elements, but that's really late game. In the beginning, you just want one set that does it all. But at the same time, while in Genshin, you have a specific passive on each weapon that gets stronger with duplicates. And I'm going to show this right now. Let me swap back into Genshin. Yeah, this is Genshin here. Okay. So while in Genshin you have the weapon, it comes with a passive, and you mostly summon for the weapon's passive. When combined with the artifacts, 4-piece or 2-piece passives gives you different damage increments. In Tower of Fantasy, and I'm going to swap back into Tower of Fantasy now. In Tower of Fantasy, the gear has its own stats. The weapon itself comes with a star level, and dupes give you stronger effects on that particular weapon. Now there are some weapons that do have other effects that last longer. Like, how should I say, in the background. Some effects on support weapons are usable while the weapon is not right now in your hand, but it is still equipped on your character. That's a different mention of what I said earlier. Yeah, and these are kind of the constellations, the replacement for the character constellations. They do give you certain effects that make them stronger. However, the passives from those artifacts in Genshin are found on matrices. And the beauty of this, which is why I said Tower of Fantasy did something great, is that you can have whatever passive you want. Now in Genshin, you choose the set of artifacts based on the character you're using, their element, and what effects the actual artifacts give. Like if you're a Volt, you're gonna want a set that gives you Volt damage or Volt resistance or whatever. If you are playing Pyro, you're gonna want the Pyro artifact set. But here, the gear will always be the same. You can just change your passives. And this is what makes it beautiful. That once you get your gear done to a level, all you need to do is roll some better stats in others. But your weapons passives, your gear passives, they are with the matrices. These 4 chips or slots that you embed on your weapons give you additional passives. Yeah, so for example, this is a weapon, the R weapon that I had equipped earlier. As you can see, the weapon itself, when I go to weapon, yeah, this is the weapon, it doesn't have a star level. You cannot level her up. So dupes of this will not be giving you anything. I mean, actually, they will be giving you some weapon materials that you can use to upgrade, but that's besides the point. However, you can still make this weapon stronger. First, by adding stronger teammates. Weapons to combine it with that give it buffs and increase their damage. The more stars you have on your other weapons, the stronger this weapon will be as well. Because, like I said, the Electro, or actually Volt in this game, stats are shared between all the weapons that you have equipped. However, you can still have this R do crazy damage by giving it really good matrices. Now the matrices, and this is where the not so fun part comes into play, are also upgradable. They do have a star level and their passives get way stronger when you have stars on them. For example, this is a Volt weapon. It's the R, and I am going to equip it with a bunch of matrices that I've also been using on different characters. Now, you can have one passive on your weapon, or you can have 2 passives on your weapon, depending on the rarity of those matrices. However, in Genshin, you can have 1 or 2 passives based on how many pieces of that set you have. For example, I want to build this into a DPS. How do I do that? Well, I give her the matrices that do most damage. In my case, it would be this Samir here, and this Samir here. And this, what does this do? It now gives me a passive. You see, matrix set details gives me a passive 2-piece. Increase damage progressively by 1% upon hitting a target. Stacks up to 10, 13, 16 or 20 times depending on the star level you have. Lasts for 1.5. Now this already made my weapon a lot stronger. Why? Because they also come with basic stats. Higher rarity comes with higher stats, and higher star level comes with even higher stats. So I can now do this, and I can also give her, give this weapon actually, I can also give it this other matrix. And now I have two passives on it. Yeah, I've got the Advocate of Violence, that says when a target is shattered, grab 8%, 10%, 12, 14, 25. Only the highest level applied, increase damage progressively. So I've got both passives now and the stats that you can see up here into this R weapon at level 10. And if I go and fight something right now with the R weapon, it should be doing some good damage. Probably didn't pick the best spot, but I just... Okay, we got some little minions here that we can fight. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So remember how last time we did 6k? That was 13k on a crit. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Do we still have the Volt Resonance? We do. Yes. Okay. Okay. So that's another way to further, how should I say, change the way you play the game. So to go for this again, you get the weapon. The weapon comes with specific skills. Yeah. You get the skin that comes with the weapon, which in this case would be Nemesis. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to equip it. Yeah, there she is. That's Nemesis. So you get the weapon, you get the skills that come with the weapon, different animations, different effects and everything. You get the star level when you get different weapons, dupes and stuff. You can add up to 2 passives to each and every weapon. Some of the matrices, of course, may be limited to a specific element in order to take effect, but you can still do it. You can still put them on. And next to that, you also have relics that can further customize the way you play your characters. Now, there's a relic in here that helps with exploration of everything. Like, you want to reach a higher place, you got the arm, which is free farmable. You just have to get to a level 40 map, I think. There's a world boss there. Everybody does it all the time because it drops some good matrices. You can just get this for free. People recommend buying some pack to get it, but it's way easier to do it that way. I did it too. You get the jetpack for floating in the air, gliding and stuff, and launching yourself up. And once you get it to 1 star, it will no longer consume stamina to glide, which is again a thing that I would very much like to see in Genshin. But that's again something I really don't like about that game anymore. You can make a clone of yourself, you can protect yourself, you can protect your team. Now, you also have a jet board. You get this for free and it's really fun. You can just do surfing on the water. You're just never gonna drown. It does, I think, consume stamina, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Now, these are just a part of the relics that I wanted to showcase. There's an invisibility cloak that allows you to do stronger stealth attacks, because there is a little bit of stealth in this game as well, if you are willing to give it a try. There's a Kuan that gives you a shield and then increases your damage when you have it at 2 stars, which isn't that hard to get. There's the magnetic storm that pulls some storms on top of your opponents, and if you maxed it out, they'll just run in different directions because they won't know where you are. There's a rocket launcher. Yeah, rockets just show up and blast things in front of you for 8 seconds. That's decent enough, I'd say. And these just add more ways for you to play the game. Like, you can be a full DPS, you can be a support, and if you go with support route, you can pick some support relics that are really, really good. Like this one here can lock the boss inside a circle for your opponents for your teammates to actually do damage to it. Like this one here can buff up your teammates as well as you, increase your damage and uh, give you some damage reduction so you don't die as easy. So there's a lot of things that you can do with these relics. Now, there's one more thing that I do feel like I need to mention in regards to the actual gacha thing. In this particular game, in Tower of Fantasy, you do summon for the weapon and you do summon for the matrices. And there's premium banners and there's the regular general pool banners. Now the premium banners, they use a red material to summon, while the regular ones, they use a golden one. There's a lot of golden summons that you can find while exploring. There's a few red ones, but you might want to save those up for the character that you are actually aiming for. Uh, gold gold matrix summoners you can get every week. You get up to 3, I think, and you can just stack them up, and once you do enough summons at 40, you get a guaranteed SSR. You do have a slight chance to pull an SSR in the meantime, and there's a store that you can use to purchase stuff. Now, in Genshin, as far as I can tell, if you get a weapon, having that weapon doesn't give you the benefit of purchasing dupes for it. As far as I can tell, let me double check on that. Let's go to Genshin. Okay, and we do wishes. Okay, so this is the newest banner. And there's this guy as well. Whatever. Okay. So summoning gives you these things down here. What's in the shop? I've got a 4-star, another 4-star, some weapons, some dumbass mats. Okay, we've got Stardust, which has more mats, and the summons. Yeah, so you cannot purchase the character on the banner, even if you have it. Now, in Tower of Fantasy, once you get a character, let me swap into this. Yeah, so in Tower of Fantasy, you have this thing called Weapon Store. So if you summon on the golden banner, when you get dupes of characters that you already have maxed out, you will get this gold, black gold it's called, right? Yeah, black gold. And the weapons that you already have, you can just buy dupes from here. You just summon like crazy, gather the black gold, and you can just buy your dupes for the weapon that you're using, because dupes are very important in this game. considering that every weapon you equip and every dupe you have on them gives you general stats on your main character, which you are already playing. So yeah, you can just buy the dupes you want. You want to play Molten Shield, mine's already full, but you could just buy your dupes. You want to play Rosy Edge, which is metal? Yeah, sure, you can just buy the dupes you want. Like, you can just check some online other videos that tell you which dupes to buy. They mostly say Rosy Edge, Dual EM, and Chakram are the better ones. And Icy Wind up to 3 stars because it gives you some attack increment, but they will be adding Claudia soon, so you might want to save all of those if you already have Claudia. If you don't, just summon for her, get her, and once she reaches the general pool, maybe you can buy her dupes. But yeah, you can just buy the dupes you want. That way you can max out your weapons. Now, I used to be a full free-to-play player in Tower of Fantasy. And as a full free-to-play, when you start the game, you get free SSR weapons. That's just the way it is. You get free SSR weapons. 2 of them are random, but 1 you can pick. Why do I say this? Well, first of all, you start the game, you do a lot of quests, you get a lot of summons, missions and stuff. You get a gift. Once you reach a particular level and a certain grade in exploration and number of days logged in, you get a full SSR box. Meaning you can click on a box in your inventory and you can just select any of the characters in the general pool that are SSRs and just have them. So if you got 2 of them, but they don't really work together very well, you can just pick a third that would mend the team. That way you can progress the story, continue the exploration and everything, and not just feel like you're not doing any damage or anything. Because don't get me wrong, the SRs that they give you, this one I'm still using. The Nightingale's Feather is amazing as a physical buffer. Why? Because you just dodge and it applies a debuff that increases your whole team's damage by 20%. Really good. This one, most people sleep on this SR weapon. I don't. I used it a long time ago in a full SR team showcase, and I do have to say it's got great nuking capabilities, meaning her ultimate, which is the discharge, deals way more damage when you are further away from your opponent. So when you want to use it, just run away from the opponent you're trying to use it on, have someone aggro it, and you just hit it from afar. It's going to do crazy amounts of damage, considering you do have some good matrices, Volt Resonance, and maybe some buffer active. I don't know. And then there's this Pummeler, which is again an SR weapon. This is a really good weapon. It's really slow, but it's doing some really big numbers. It was crazy in PvP when the game launched because it has immunity frame where you just cannot be debuffed and stunned and everything, which has a high value in PvP where everybody stun locks you. But yeah, and these are just some of the SRs that I feel are good. This is also decent. It's a support healing Volt stuff. It allows you to survive, and I'm pretty sure if you have already summoned enough to get 2 SSR weapons and pick your third, you already have all the SRs. If not, at least 3 stars on them, because they do drop rather commonly. Another way better thing in regards to the gacha, so you get good price, you get a good start as an early player, and you also get pity. Now, in comparison, Genshin also has a hidden pity system where it might or it might not give you a 5-star character every 80 summons or so. I don't know. There's a soft pity, there's a hard pity. It's just too convoluted for me to get into. Well, Tower of Fantasy devs did something clever again, and this time you've got this bar here. Yeah, this bar, weapons galore, and it's got this bar here. It says guaranteed SSR after 80 orders. So you do 8 multi or 80 singles and you get a guaranteed SSR. But you already know you're getting it because that's where it is. Now, the smartest part is this timer does not reset. So if you are at 60 out of 80, yeah, and you pull on SSR, whether it's the one on the banner, because there is a pity system on the premium banners as well, or the one that is in the pool itself, not the one on the banner, um, your pity stays where it is. As with Genshin, you summon like crazy in hopes of getting something from the banner, you drop a random Chi-Chi and your pity is reset because you got a 5-star. Well, Tower of Fantasy doesn't do that. You get an SSR, that's great. They encourage you to summon even more by allowing you to get the one you want with the next pity. So, me personally, I did some summons on this pool, this banner, the general pool, a while back, and I had quite a lot of summons. And by the time I got to pity, I've already summoned 3 SSRs. When I got to pity, I got my 4th, which is not going to happen on Genshin because you do 20 pulls, you get a 5-star. Well, guess what? You need to do 80 more to get another one to the pity. But no, here you get one at 20, one at 50, one at 70, another one at 75, and then you get the guaranteed at 80. It doesn't reset. And the most beautiful thing about it is that it's so free to play friendly that on the premium banners, the PT is shared between all active banners. You see, I've got Claudia here. I don't have this weapon. I don't want it. But my PT says 11. As you can see, I have not summoned on this. I've got 0 black flame gold. But at the same time, I did summon for her. Now I have also used the gold because I bought her matrix box, but that's another topic of discussion probably for another video. The thing is, I summoned for Lyra. I already showed I have Lyra, and I have 11 out of 80. I did get to pity, but then I kept summoning so I could get the box, the SSR matrix box that she has. We've got 11 on this, 11 on this, and 11 on this. What's even more interesting is that even if these banners reset, yeah, they go away and another banner comes up, you will still have the same level on your pity, which is pretty much how I cheesed my summons as a free-to-play. I charged up my pity towards 79, which is where I stopped, in order to maybe get one SSR or 2 random characters that I didn't really care about. When I got to 79, I stopped, and I waited for the banner that I actually wanted the character from. So when that banner came out, I just did 1 multi and I got that character because it's a 50-50 to get it on the pity. And I was fortunate enough to get it on the first try, which means new banner comes in, you just use 10 summons and you have a 50-50 chance to get it. It's even better if you get the other one because you get guaranteed option of buying the character that you want for 120 gold. Now, if for this general pool banner you do summons and you don't get a weapon you want, even if you have 120 black gold, when you when you go to buy the weapon that you want, If you don't already have it, you will not have access to the dupes for that weapon. It's just not going to allow you to buy it. But, and this is again, I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself too much, but again, they did something very, very clever. And when you go to the premium banners, yeah, when you get 120 of this particular resource that they give you for each summon, meaning you do 120 pulls, if you were that unlucky to not get the character in those 120 summons, you can go to the store and you can just buy the weapon that you want even without already having it. This only applies to the limited banner weapons, and it does work several times. So if you pull the weapon, but you want dupes and you summon like crazy, like 500-600 times, and you don't get any dupe because you lose every 50-50, and you're so unlucky that you don't get one additional copy, well, guess what? You can just buy the remaining copies that you need here. It is gonna take a lot of money, and I find it really unlikely for someone not to get any dupes to max out the weapon at all and miss all the pities, because that's like really unfortunate. I mean, it's not impossible, but I mean, let's be real. Still, you can buy the dupes you want. Good luck doing that in Genshin, because all you can do to get the dupes is summon. Like, you don't have a way of buying those dupes for the 5 stars. They just don't give you that option. They are sure they give some of the 4 stars for free in particular events that need you to grind for a whole goddamn week to get one dupe of a 4 star that you may or may not use, which I don't really see the point to, but fine. But in Tower of Fantasy, it's way easier to get the weapon that you want. You just need 120 summons to get it, and that's it. Now, if you want to get, if you are lucky enough, you can get it to 1 star relatively easy by getting to 120. Because if you are fortunate enough to hit the pity on 50-50 and get the character, then you can just keep summoning until you get to 120 and buy a dupe for it. And that's 1 star for you. And most of the characters in game, they do get better with 1 star, but stars are not really the most important. What matters most is the gear and the matrices. As far as I can tell, I'm happy with just having a character, if I like that particular character. But having the option of really getting the characters that you want is actually really, really good. Now, let's talk about the way that you explore the world. Now, Tower of Fantasy is an actual MMO. As you explore the game, you will gain access to new areas that have way more players. And based on that, okay, based on that, when you get to areas that are more dense in population, you will see other players. Now, you will be able to do some exploration mechanics with some things that you should fire in them, or some special chests that have some colored balls with elemental damage that needs to be done to them to access the goodies inside the actual chest. And if you have players nearby, they can use a different element and activate the ones that you don't have an element for. And because they are nearby, when that thing is activated and you are nearby them, it will be active for everyone. Unlike Genshin, where if you do an exploration point with someone in multiplayer, they'll need to do it themselves to get the drops. Like, that's not really how it should be, is it? It's a co-op game. I should be able to, I don't know, light fire to a electoral camp and drop something out of it. I don't know exactly. I forgot the mechanics, the exploration thingies in Genshin already because I haven't been playing that long for a long time. But it's still the only thing that you can do with your friends is walk around the map, show off your characters, and spend resin inside domains. That's pretty much it. In Tower of Fantasy, um, you explore, you meet players, you hit world bosses, you do dungeons, you farm for gear, you participate in multiplayer events, and there's a whole bunch of things that you can do. Now, the game is rather limited with the amount of players it can generate at the same time on the screen because it is a cross-platform. It works on mobile too, and yeah, it's just not going to be as many players as you would like to. But in comparison with Genshin, where you can at most have 3 friends, and when you have those 3 friends with you, you can only use one of the characters because the game is so limited. It allows only a max of 4, and each has to bring one. Um, in Tower of Fantasy, you are still playing your character no matter where you are. You still have 3 weapons equipped and you can freely swap in between them, which is way better. Um, and those are pretty much most of the things that I wanted to discuss in comparison between these 2 games, because I know there's a lot of players, like I mentioned, that are playing Genshin and would like to give it a try. The game is really, really fun. The gacha aspect is extremely free to play friendly, and just try it out. However, don't expect to be doing any reactions in this game. The elements themselves have a different use in this particular game. Some of the opponents will have elemental weaknesses, which means that you will simply be able to do more damage using the element that they are weak at, weak against, which would be recommended. But if you max a particular element other instead of the one that they want, you will still be able to do damage to them as long as they don't have resistance to that particular element. Which is why in another video I recommended players that will get into Tower of Fantasy to get ready for 2 comps. Prepare 2 sets of 3 weapons with different elements so that you can one time use one combination and at the same time another time use the different combination. That way you will have some way of clearing pretty much every stage, because in this game when you do instances farming for gear, uh, you will most likely notice that some of them have resistances. Now this one here gives you a buff that allows you to do more damage when you're using frost, which is ice, or fire, or pyro, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, there are some other uh, levels, like this one, where it says enemy resists 65% flame and 65% volt. What does this mean? It means you will need any of the other 2 elements to be able to clear this. I mean, you could bring flame, you could bring volt, uh, but the rest of the team will not be very pleased because this is a multiplayer instance and you kind of want to stray away from these 2 elements just so you can clear it in a good time. But there you go. This drops the matrices, the default matrices, because each weapon has a 4-piece SSR matrix set. The SR weapons have SR matrices. The R weapons, they just don't have any characters, so they don't come with any matrices, but there are R matrices as well. They're just not, the image on them is from opponents you fight in the first or second map. So they're not weapon character specific, because ours don't have weapon character specific simulacrums, but I mean, I guess makes sense now. You see, this is an SR weapon. It gives it has an SR matrix is attributed to it. And yeah, you can drop these in these dungeons that you do, and you get gear, and gear can drop random stats, and then you roll into them. It's kind of like Genshin. You also have this thing here, which is the vitality, like the resin in Genshin, kind of the same thing. But again, it's a little bit different when compared to Genshin. Well, I guess I'll end the video here. If you do have some other things that you were hoping to see me discuss about, uh, please let me know in the comments. I might do a follow-up if this does well. Because yeah, it's an interesting thing with these two games. Um, they're rather different, but they do look quite similar. And as a past Genshin player that has given up on Genshin and started and really enjoyed Tower of Fantasy, it would make me happier to see more people coming from Genshin, not dropping the game, but like whenever there's no content, joining Tower of Fantasy, doing more things, adding more people to the game, and more value to the game, because the game actually deserves it. Like whenever the devs release a weapon, think of it like this: whenever they release a weapon, they need to develop animations for the skin of that weapon that works with any other weapon in the game. And trust me when I tell you that I've done some modeling for Counter-Strike, and that is not easy. I mean, I cannot fathom to compare what I did with what they do, but I do understand what they're going through. Whenever they release a weapon, the skin that comes with that weapon or simulacrum must be compatible with every other weapon in the game. They need to import their animations, their assets and everything, and make them look good as well. And they did it. It works really, really well. Props to props to the devs for making such a wonderful game. And yeah, another thing that I feel like mentioning, and would very much like to see this in Genshin, but it's probably way far, is mounts. Because the game is very, very expensive, the maps are big, like the ones that they released with the desert are actually really big. You need to have a way of traversing big distances. And again, I wish this were in Genshin, but at a press of a button, you can just summon a mount. Like you can ride a bike, you can walk on a two-legged colossus, you can ride a mechanized unicorn, uh, you can float in a Star Wars-like flying, how should I say, uh, vessel of some sort. You've got some interesting mounts that come with updates that are to come. Once they release the underwater map, they're gonna have some fish-like mounts that you can just swim in the water with. The game is growing into something really, really special. Yeah. So this is the bike that they give you for free in the beginning of the game by doing the story. You can press space to jump. I'm pretty sure on the phone you'll have a dedicated control for that. Yeah, you cannot jump every height, but you get the gist of it. Now there are free mounts that you can simply farm from bosses. Some of the pieces are content locked, time frame. You will see a timer on the chests where they are, or they have a password that is kind of hidden, and you will need to watch a video online or something to get those mounts. There's quite a few of them. I don't think I'll ever make one. But yeah, just to showcase some of the mounts that I have picked up since I've been playing. This is the free mount that they give you in the beginning, and once you level it up with materials from world bosses, you can change its colors. Yeah, I still haven't gotten all of them because I don't really care about this mount, but anyway. Then there's this one, a free farmable mount as well. This one, Omnium Beast is called, you just write it. Again, a free farmable mount. This is the Star Wars like thingy floater shuttle. It looks really nice. There's a unicorn here. Yeah, kind of like a horse, but it looks like it's mechanized. Like it's a robot horse that has a horn, so it's a unicorn. Then there's this that it was given to those that pre-ordered the game, I think via Play Store. I don't know if anyone can get this right now, but it's still an interesting mount to have. There's this one that came with an event. It's a limited one. Not everyone can get it. And then there's this one, the latest one that I just posted a video about getting yesterday. This is a real grind. But again, it's free to play. And this is the one I'm using at most. Yeah. And just to provide you with further details and stuff. Like, this is Samir. This, when the game launched, was the best DPS in the game. It's a Volt uh, 2 pistol dual wielding girl or woman, however you want to call it. She's awesome. Now, I do feel like I forgot to mention that each weapon comes with their own passive. Now, that particular passive is called a trait. Yeah. And this is kind of like the passive weapons have in Genshin. It's just that you need to activate it, and you activate it by giving your weapon gifts. Each weapon has a specific gift they like, and they provide you with different passives. You get 2 levels of passives. By giving them gifts, you get the avatar that you can use in chat. Then at 1200 points, you get the first level of the passive, which is good in early game. But once you reach a higher level, you will need to max at least one passive because they do get far stronger. Now, Samir was considered to be one of the greatest DPSs in the beginning, where the only resonance character was Nemesis for Volt. Okay. So just to show you the amount of respect that the devs have for us, uh, if you go to Samir, well, let me just equip Samir, whatever. I'm gonna swap him out and just put Samir in. This is Samir, yeah. Now, if you go to her simulacra, come on, bro. There it is. Okay. You go to Samir. This is Samir. Yeah, SSR weapons have 2 different skins. Once you get them to 3 stars, you get the second skin. It's not something you want to have, but it's nice to have it. And this is the second skin. Yeah, this is how you activate her passive or trait, how do you call it? And I'm going to also activate the look. Yeah, now we look like Samir. Now there's one thing that I want to point out, and it's this. This is Samir, yeah, her artwork. And she has a neat red bike here. You may recognize this bike. Yeah, you may recognize this bike because it's the one that we have right here. So the devs went out of their way to give you the character, to give you her weapon, and her mount. All three farmable characters. Like, Samir may not be farmable, but you can get her mount, and once you get her mount, uh, it's the mount is actually free to play. Now that I think about it, the weapon is not free, but you do get the SSR matrix box that gives you the option of selecting. So you could still say Samira is free to play because you could pick her if you haven't already gotten her from summoning. But yeah, that is pretty much where I'll end the video. I've already done quite enough right now. And I do hope this video actually helps people because it's been such a long video to make and it's a lot of stuff to talk about, and there's a lot of things that I really like about this game that I wish they were in Genshin. Uh, I just went through some of them right now. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.